That talk about the history of bikes was interesting, especially as we both want to be professional cyclists.
Yes, but imagine riding a wooden bike in the Tour de France.
The bikes actually had wooden wheels until the 1930s. The race has a fascinating history.
Yes, I'd heard it started as a way of settling an argument between two enthusiastic amateur cyclists. It was actually proposed by one of the two sports newspapers published in France at the time, which was desperate to gain publicity because its sales weren't as good as those of its rival.
And when the first Tour de France was announced in 1903, only 15 competitors initially entered because the winnings were so low. In the end, to attract more people, the organisers offered to pay each cyclist the same as they'd have got if they were a factory worker and increased the prize money.
These days, cyclists receive closer to the salary of a professional footballer for taking part.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yes, and before the 1930s, competitors could enter individually or as part of a team. Each rider was only allowed to use one bike throughout the whole race, and cyclists who weren't part of an organised team had to deal with finding accommodation at the end of each day.
And even the cyclists in teams were forced to fix mechanical problems themselves, as help from others was against the rules for everyone in the race.
But that rule eventually changed. The Tour became far more commercial, and there was much more sponsorship of the race. A bonus award of a special shirt called a jersey is given to the person who's best at certain things. So the one who's quickest at cycling up steep mountain roads, for example, gets a red and white jersey, which was initially provided by a chocolate producer, and these colours match their logo.
Yes, and the green jersey for the cyclist who scores the most points was sponsored by an engineering company. The overall winner's the one who finishes in the shortest time, of course, and most of them were French or Belgian until 1986.
Yes, which is when Greg LeMond, an American, became the first non-European champion. In fact, since 1986, there have been Spanish, Irish and British winners, amongst others.
Anyway, shall we go for a ride then?
Good idea.